data science can be very difficult, especially with the fact that it's a combination of mathematics, statistics, software engineering, and a lot of other things. Now, I tell you, that's not easy. I've been dealing with this for about 5 years since I started to learn data science, and now I deal with it much better. But trust me, it wasn't easy until I learned these 6 secrets that I want to share with you in this video. And yeah, let's get straight into it. The number one point I want to share with you is balancing mathematical formulas and frameworks with hands-on approach. The first thing when you see mathematical equation, for example, maybe you're trying to understand the logistic regression or the linear regression, is to ask yourself, what are the inputs? How does that translate to my problem or a typical data science problem? What are the outputs? How does that translate to a typical data science problem? With that, you're trying to bring a bridge between your technical, the technical framework, the mathematical equation itself, to how it's going to be applied in the future, or how it is applied right now. And that way, when you do that, it brings you some sort of practical example, concrete example for you to picture what the mathematical equation is saying. If you do that approach, it helps you to learn faster. At the same time, when it comes to you implementing the code, it also helps you to be able to implement the code faster. You have to know that learning the theory is important, of course, especially if you're just starting out, because with that, you can be able to answer questions in interviews. You can be able to talk about what you're doing, and if you don't, you probably struggle in the future understanding more complex things. So learning the theory is important, but asking the question about what is the framework trying to do, what is the equation trying to do, what are the output, how does this translate to the present data science problem they are trying to solve or that you will be solving, helps you to bridge that gap, and also really helps you to be able to code it, and also helps you to be able to type it out. If you can do that, you can be able to understand that from the aspect of writing the code. That would make it sort of second memory for you, because especially with the fact that you'll be writing the code again and again and again, it becomes just default in your brain. The second thing that I want to talk about is a part of what I already said, and it's this, that you should code. This is one of the reasons, this is like exercising. So it's like you're building muscle memory, like I talked about. If you exercise, it's painful at the first time, it's difficult at the first time, but the more you exercise, your body builds the muscle for it, and you are able to now do it without it getting painful, and even easier. So you have to think about doing it again and again and again. I teach data science, and when I go to the class to teach my students, they look at me writing the codes literally from my brain. It is not because I'm some superstar, it's just because in the last years I've done this again and again and again and again. And I'm pretty sure it also applies to your lecturers in the university or your teachers. You see them do it so effortlessly. It's not because they're some superstar, it's just because they've done it again and again and again and again. And that's why I actually like these times where you have stuffs like ChatGPT that you can basically copy your queries or your errors into and say, I'm getting this error, how do you explain this, what should I do? And it's going to tell you, okay, correct this in your code. Or for example, you have a debugger in VS Code that helps you to go through the code and see what is breaking in your code or what might break in your code. And with this, you actually build some sort of character. You know what works, what doesn't work. And I tell you, learning what doesn't work in coding is actually as important as learning what works. Another thing I want to talk about, also under the point of coding, is debugging. A lot of people think that when you debug, it's like a waste of time. And I tell you, I've personally learned a lot from debugging my codes and running into problems than I've learned from typing out the codes themselves. So debugging is important. It helps you to learn. So if you're running into errors on your query, I tell you, you're not alone. A lot of people have actually been there. I've been there. A lot of great data scientists have been there, and they'll tell you it's all part of the process. So embrace it, and it helps you to get better. The third thing I want to talk about is to learn to break down complex ideas into simple functions. Now, I see people trying to solve big problems and they basically just start out coding. if you're a guru or you're a superstar, that's good, but the best approach to think about it is to do a simple divide and conquer approach. Let's say, for example, I want to build an ML algorithm. I know that my destination is to have a machine learning model that takes some sort of input and makes an output. But before I get there, I need to load in my data. I need to clean my data. I want to do some descriptive analysis. Maybe I want to decide what features I want to encode, what kind of encoding I want to do. What I would do in that, instead of just starting out to code, is I will break down that process into a little bit. I would start by typing in a markdown. I want to load in the data, I want to clean the data, I want to do this, and then begin to fill each section of the markdown that I wrote down already with the codes that I want to type in there. So that way I can actually think about my coding before I actually code. And I see that thinking about your coding before you code is actually part of coding. It's actually part of writing code himself, and that gives your brain some sort of time to think through the decisions you want to make. So instead of writing some code and cleaning it off and then writing another one and cleaning it off, your brain has a lot of time to think about the decision it makes before it actually makes those decisions. So breaking down complex ideas, complex machine learning processes, complex data science processes really helps you to learn data science in an easy way, and also helps you to also make progress faster. The fourth thing I want to talk about is understanding already pre-written scripts. You find yourself sometimes maybe following someone's examples or documentation, or you have cloned a repo on GitHub, for example, and you're trying to figure out what is the input here, what is the output here. You see a lot of functions, class, and the likes, and it's sometimes scary. Now, don't think about it like that. The best approach to go about understanding stuff like that is to look out for the main function. When you take the main function, you begin to ask yourself, what does the main function do? And then begin to trace back how the main function calls the other function in the process, and then it begins to make sense to you. So if you start from the main function tells you what is the function of the other functions that were written, basically. So the main function gives you a global picture of what the whole script is doing, and then you can then begin to zoom in into understanding the duties of the functions that were written in the code themselves, and really ask yourself, what is the input into this, what is the output into this, out of this? Is this taking a function, is this taking a variable, is this taking in a data frame, for example, is this taking in a string, and what does the output look like? Once you understand that flow of the input and the output and the transformations that are done in each of the function or the main function itself, you have a better picture of what's happening. And this is an important skill for everyone to learn, because oftentimes you would have to work with someone's documentation when you get in on your new job. You have to understand the code, or you probably just clone data from GitHub, and you want to understand it, or you want to implement, or you want to follow someone along while they teach you data science. Understanding that the whole concept of starting from the main function and going back to each of the functions will really help you to really make your data science learning easier. Takes me to my fifth point. Data science take time to learn. You know, if you know this, it would help you to relax and just know that you're on a journey. Now, I've been working as a data scientist for over 4 years. I've been learning data science for 5 years. I have a mathematics background. I have a master's in mathematics, and I tell you, I'm still learning a lot myself. I think I sort of have the background to learn things a little bit easier, but it's still not completely easy for me. I find that I have to take new boot camps, new courses, really trying to understand what is new in the field. New algorithms are released every day, new libraries are being developed. The field is constantly evolving, and the fact that data science also integrates well with many other aspects of life also means that you could actually be a data scientist in one field and not understand what a data scientist in the other field is doing. For example, if you're a medical data scientist, you will be doing something completely different from a mathematical data scientist. Of course, using the same underlying technologies and understanding, but your applications are very different apart from each other. So knowing that it takes time to really master all of this makes you calm down and makes you enjoy the process. Really makes you just flow along and really reduces the tension of, oh, I want to do this. People reach out to me and say, I want to learn data science in 2 months or 3 months. Why that is possible, you might be able to understand the basics, but it doesn't remove the fact that data science as a career itself requires that you are a lifelong learner, and knowing that helps you to be better, just helps you to calm down and flow along with the process. If you've watched this video until this point, definitely you should like the video and also subscribe. A lot of people watch these videos and don't subscribe. If you subscribe and you like this video, I'll be a very happy man, and the YouTube algorithm also recommend it to other people. Now to my last part. Ask experts. You see, one interesting thing I found about being a data scientist is you cannot walk alone. You are not an island. I find that people would actually building a community around them, learn faster, and data science is easy for them to learn. So you are not just chatting your path to getting a job. You're actually learning on how people actually did build their process and get a job. And that's why, for example, on this YouTube channel we have a series series called My Data Journey, where I actually interview people who've been successful at your data science or data analytics careers and asking them how did they do that. For example, with this video with Simi, a data analytics manager at Delivery Hero, I asked her how did she become a data analyst manager, how did she become successful at her career. Or this video with Larry at Microsoft, I also asked him how did he actually build his career to be a successful cloud advocate at Microsoft. Or this video also with Sadiq, who is a data scientist as well at Google. So all of this, watching all of these interviews would help you to understand what was the pathway at which these guys actually build their career. Also talking about asking experts, the fact is also that when you even get into your job, you would find that your work is also easier if you can communicate with people. You can speak with people to get help. For example, people who are custodians of the data you want to work with, asking them how the process is like, understanding why the data looks the way it does would really help you to make better decisions, because you understand now the better pathway. So asking experts is a very good thing to learn. Make sure you check out the videos I recommended earlier. I think that they would be a good one. They would be a good one for you. If you enjoyed this video, I'm sure you will like this video as well, where I talked about how I learned data science and got a job after 6 weeks. Thank you for watching. Subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.